So it is autumn here in Japan. It's still hot and we still have a lot of humidity. It is also the time when the JET program, which is the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, starts accepting applications for the next JET program school year. That will be August of 2020. I've linked their website down below so you can get all the information. The application deadlines vary from country to country, but usually it's October and November that applications are accepted, with deadlines being at the end of November or the beginning of December, depending on where you are, so definitely check those out. And if you're still contemplating, or if you're not sure whether or not the JET program is right for you, should you apply, I thought of 3 questions that you could ask yourself before applying. 3 things that I think every applicant should think about and consider before filling out all those applications, getting all the materials ready, and sending it off. So let's go ahead and talk about those 3 areas. Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by my channel today. If you are new here, my name is Kim and I'm an elementary school teacher here in Yokohama, Japan. I came to Japan on the JET program back in 1988 and I only intended to stay 1 year, but here I am still in Japan, still loving everything about my life here. And although I'm not in the same area as when I first started, I feel like I've had the experience and the blessings to be able to live in different parts of Japan. So I apologize that it's been a while since I've posted anything on my Teaching in Japan channel, but I thought now is the perfect time because if you are interested in the JET program, they are starting to accept applications. The application process is usually it begins in October and November, with deadlines being sometimes at the end of November or the beginning of December. Check your embassy for the exact deadlines. I will link the JET program website down below. It has all the information that you need to get your applications in, a little bit of information about what the positions involve, and all the information that you will need to make a decision about whether or not this is the right program for you. I thought of 3 questions that I think every applicant should consider before they send in their application. These are things that I've thought about after my JET program experience, and also being someone that helped new JETs come into the program. I worked on JET for 3 years, and at that time, because it was still in the beginning phases, 3 years was the limit. And I was fortunate enough to find another teaching job in the same prefecture that I was at. So I was able to remain in Tottori Prefecture, where I was assigned, and assist with a lot of the new JETs that were coming in and remain active in the JET program, even though I was no longer officially on the JET program. I still am a JET alumni and a proud JET alumni. And if there's any way I can help future JETs coming in, or even people that are just contemplating whether or not the JET program is right for them, I'm here. You'll hear this saying a million times, whether you're in the JET program or whether you are not accepted into the JET program, whether you are working in any capacity here in Japan, every experience is different. So the 3 questions that I've kind of narrowed it down to is question number 1. How adaptable are you? How adaptable are you? For some people, it's easy to adapt to a new surrounding, a new country, a new place of business. If you have that personality that maybe, you're used to moving around, you're used to new changes. But for some people, if it's your first time away from home or being apart from your family, if you've never lived in a foreign country before, if you really don't know a whole lot about Asian culture, and this is the first experience that you're living in a society or a culture that's extremely different from your own, those are all adjustments or things that you're going to have to make and adapt to. For me, I'm someone that grew up in the city. I grew up in Los Angeles. It was very multicultural. I had a pretty independent lifestyle. And when I was assigned to Tottori Prefecture, I knew nothing of the area, and I couldn't find very much information about it except what was written in guidebooks, and it was about a paragraph long, just saying about the sand dunes, but I had no idea what to expect. And I was given government housing, which was very inexpensive. It was approximately $100 a month, and in my head I thought, great, I'm going to Japan, I'm paying $100 a month for rent, you know, what could be better? Until I got my apartment. And for me, it was just so different from what I was used to. I did not have running hot water. I had to use a water tank, and I had my bathtub, which was a square unit, and I filled it up with water, and then I had to crank up a heater to kind of almost light a stove under my bathtub and heat the water that way. So it was a whole different living situation than what I was used to. I will admit the first 3 months were really, really difficult. And I thought, oh my gosh. But at the same time, I thought, you know, this is what I signed up for. I signed up for coming out of my comfort zone and living in a foreign country and doing it with as open a mind as I could. And I will say that those 3 years that I spent in that government housing, it toughened me up, and it made me appreciate when I moved into my next job and I had a more westernized apartment. That being said, it was what we call a one-room mansion, which was basically a studio. Not only the place where you live, but even your neighborhood may be someplace that you will have to get used to. And if you're not adaptable, going home and having that time at home could be hard for you. Now, that was my situation. There are other jets that get beautiful, you know, very Western style apartments. The rent may be, it varies depending on what prefecture you're from, but adapting to your surroundings is going to be something that you're going to be faced with when you come here. How adaptable are you? Same with your workplace. You might be used to a workplace that gives you a little bit of freedom in how you dress, what you do outside of, you know, work, how long you have to stay at work, what you do during your vacation time. You may be used to having a lot of freedom in that area, and now all of a sudden you might be in a workplace where you feel like all of a sudden everything you do is under a microscope. Why do I have to report everything that I'm doing on my vacation? If I'm going away to another country, why do I have to report all that? Why do I have to stay at work till 5 o'clock if I'm all done with my classes and I have no classes scheduled for me the next day? There's a lot of changes that, you know, both good and bad, that you may have to adapt to. And if you're someone that is really, really set in your ways and expects your JET program experience to revolve around what you want your experience to be, then perhaps you need to think really carefully whether or not the JET program is right for you. Since every experience is different, you won't really know about your situation until maybe after you get your placement. The second question that I think every JET applicant should consider is the timing of the JET program right for you? Is the timing of the JET program right for you? And I say this because A lot of times you're excited, you think it's great, you know, you go ahead and you start getting the application, you get really excited, and then you come on the JET program, and all of a sudden there's a lot of things that you didn't think about, and it starts stressing you out. Some examples are, you may currently be working somewhere, and you say, hey, I got this, you know, offer or this opportunity to go teach for a year in Japan, and, you know, your company or wherever your workplace is, they may be very supportive and say, oh, great, yeah, go ahead, you know, do it, but be sure to come back after a year. And then after you finish your JET program time, you come back and the job that you thought you had waiting for you is no longer there. Or they may give you, right? They may say, okay, take a year off. And you think in your head, oh yeah, a year is fine. That's kind of what I thought when I was leaving my school district. I thought, oh yeah, a year and I'll come back. And you may enjoy yourself, or you may think, oh gosh, 1 year on JET wasn't enough. I want to renew. I want to stay longer. And if that happens, right, what do you do about your situation back home? So you've got to be able to know whether or not it's a good time for you to come. That's why I think you do get a lot of applicants that are right out of university. They've got their degree. They want to go try something new. They want to experience life in a foreign country. They want to experience working in a foreign country before they go back to wherever it is that they want to settle and start a job that won't allow them the time off to go to another country and work for a year. I used to see a lot of JET program participants come, and all of a sudden their friends start getting married and they want to go back for the wedding, or they anticipate that they're going to be able to take time off to go see their friend's wedding, and they don't realize that perhaps that's the same weekend as a school festival, or it's the same time as when they expect you to help with your school's entrance exams, or there's a JET conference or seminar that you need to attend and you won't be able to go to this wedding. So, you know, that being said, some people are allowed time off and some people do take time off to go to these different events. But if you're afraid of missing out on all these events back home, maybe going on a program like the JET program is not for you. Oh my gosh, and there's a spider crawling on the top of my car. I'm going to pause this, and yeah, I've got to take care of the spider and let him go outside. That was fun. For those people that know me, you know I don't kill spiders, so it's more like catch and release. Whoa. And he was going pretty fast on the ceiling of my car, so I just took a towel that I had in the front and I swished him, and I hope he went outside. If not, we may have a spider crawling up on our lens or something. So yeah, back to timing. I also have seen people that have just gotten into a brand new relationship, and they come to Japan and they have a really hard time dealing with the long distance relationship. Another thing to consider is grad school, and if you're going to go after some part of your career, like if you want to get into med school or law school or whatever, and you need to, you know, get on with your test or whatever degree things that you need, coming on the JET program, it might interfere with that because you might be stressed about getting applications in on time or collecting materials from being in a foreign country. Speaking from experience, right, you do have to, sometimes when you're applying for other jobs, you need things like transcripts or documents, and they may be easy to get when you're at home, but they may be more difficult to get when you're here in Japan. They do offer some tests that you might need for, say, law school or med school or whatever, but the times that they're taken or the venues may not be easily accessible to you. Oh my gosh. First there was a spider, now there's like a butterfly on the lid of my, not the lid. There's a butterfly on the bonnet. That's the hood of the car. Kind of cool. And as you can see, I'm in the parking lot that has the bamboo, which I think is one of the prettiest parking lots here in my neighborhood. So yes, knowing whether or not the timing is right for you to come on the JET program and commit to at least 1 year in a foreign country is important before you send in your application. So give that some thought. The third question that I think everybody needs to ask themselves, whether they come on JET or whether they come on a different program, is what do you hope to gain from this experience? And it sounds like a very interview type of question, right? What do you hope to gain from this experience? Am I really doing this? Am I really going to leave everything I have here going for me in Los Angeles to just take a year off and go on JET? And I made the decision, yes, it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to work in Japan. I wanted to learn more about the educational system here. I wanted to learn more about the country where my ancestors are from. And I don't care if I didn't know anybody. It was going to be an experience for me to do something independently by myself that I really wanted to do. And I had absolutely no regrets in going through the whole process, eventually getting accepted, and then going on the program with the most open mind. And what I hoped to gain was exactly those things, is experience teaching in a foreign country and being someone from an educational background. I had my credentials. I had 8 years of teaching experience under my belt, but I had never been to Japan. And it was something I think most Japanese Americans dream about, is being able to go to the country of their ancestors and learn a big part of our, history. And so it was something I really wanted to do. And other than that, I felt those would be the things that I would gain. Or that was what I was looking for. I know people that come to Japan because they want to improve their Japanese, or they want to learn a Japanese martial art or a Japanese instrument, and getting on JET program would be kind of their stepping stone, or being a way to get immersed in the culture. Some people come for other reasons. It could be financial, what you hope to gain. Are you going to be able to gain that through the JET program? For me, it was always about teaching. It was always about personal relationships and communicating. If you think about what the JET program offers you, if that doesn't mesh up with what you hope to gain, is this going to be the right program for you? The JET program, we are dealing with people constantly in our job. We're dealing with people in the neighborhood. We're dealing with other JETs. And most importantly, we're dealing with our students. And if you are not in the mindset of that you are coming here and you are hoping to interact with your students and teach them about you, your country, your culture, the English language, then maybe it won't mesh up. And they might be disappointed just as much as you might be disappointed. Does that make sense? If you are hoping to gain new friendships and experiences with people, then I say the JET program is probably one of the greatest programs to do that. In my mindset, when I came here, I thought, okay, I figured I would be working with Japanese teachers. I figured, all my Board of Education and the people I would interact with would all be, Japanese officials. I knew that the majority of my students were going to be Japanese students from Totori who probably had never been abroad or experienced even talking to another foreigner. I knew that. But what I didn't realize is the friendships I would gain from the other participants. And whether even if you're in the countryside, even if you're in the, the most isolated area of that particular prefecture, you still will have opportunities and events where you are mixing with other people that are in your prefecture or your area or at a seminar. And those friendships that you make, for me, they have been some of the most, valuable and rewarding friendships that I've ever had, and that I will carry with me until the day that I die, maybe even after or beyond. They were that important because you're going through an experience together. You're someone from another country that grew up with, a different experience, and you are now placed in the same area and experiencing something, together. And I think that's why when you meet another JET program participant, or when you meet someone that has done JET or been on JET, they understand when you're going through a rough time. They understand when, you're so excited about a sports event, or you get to, do a photo shoot in a kimono, or you get to go on your first overnight trip with your teachers, and you go into an onsen, which is a hot springs, and you have that bonding period with your teachers. They understand, and I didn't think I was going to get teary-eyed. And look, it's because the emotions that you feel on this program are so intense. The emotions that you feel, like I can't even think about everything, because it's like a wave of emotions. So let me sum it up just by saying this. I think if you are adaptable, yes, come on the JET program, apply. If the timing is right for you, definitely apply. But if for some reason you think the timing might not be right, or it might not be the best time in your career or in your relationship or where you are at personally in your life, then, there could always be another time. You don't have to do it right this very minute. Or you can look into other programs that might be better for whatever it is your situation is. Sorry, guys. And then, most importantly, think about what you hope to gain. And you might be like me, where you really, what you want to gain is very simple. If you're contemplating coming on the JET program and applying, I would encourage you to do it. But that being said, think about those 3 questions and think about whether or not this is the right program for you. And after that, the rest is easy, because if you've got that drive and determination, put that into your application, into your essay, into your interview, and hopefully you'll have the results that you want. Look over the website carefully, think about those questions, and yeah, if you are contemplating it, do it. So if you found this video helpful, or it made you think about some questions about what it's like to work here in Japan, I hope you'll give the video a thumbs up. And if you are interested in learning more about Japan, or if you have questions about the JET program, about what it's like to work in Japan, teaching or otherwise, or even just seeing glimpses of Japan through what I experience, please consider subscribing, and I will be happy to share my adventures with you. And if you have any questions, specific questions or areas that you'd like me to cover, please feel free to comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be cheering you on as you start getting your applications ready. Pay attention to those deadlines because Japan is really super strict on deadlines. And no excuses if you're late or if something gets lost in the mail. Take every precaution and every step to ensure that everything is included, that you followed every single instruction in there, and that nothing is missing. Make sure you fill it out accurately because they do check that, and you don't want to, have a silly little mistake cost you what could be the most incredible year of your life. All right, thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.